Good morning. I'd like everyone to just take a moment and think about what the nature of your thoughts has been during the last few minutes. Just generally what they are, what they've been about, what they seem to be related to. You see you have a built-in data sorting device that can look at all these things, and it's like a giant radar, and on that radar appear the dynamic energy of whatever it is that you're thinking about, all the points of view that appear on that radar screen. But you see that radar screen is constant, and that radar is the radar of awareness. It's simply our awareness without any idea of a personal mind or anything else. In fact, the notion of a personal mind is just another point of view. It's just more dynamic energy on the radar screen of awareness. And that awareness, rather than being confined within the skin line of the body, is vast like infinite space. It has no limit, periphery, or center. So to know this awareness as oneself requires that one simply relax. Because if awareness is only looking at all the dynamic energy that's going on within it, then that's all that awareness sees. That's all awareness is. And when awareness is all wrapped up in its dynamic energies of points of view, then there's no ease, there's no rest, there's no relaxation. And in a very practical way, what that means is we have absolutely no discernment about anything that's going on either within us or outside us. Because there is just the constant involvement with certain kinds of points of view that are going on. And when there's involvement with only a small fragment of what is within all-inclusive awakened awareness, in other words, all-inclusive awakened awareness is all-inclusive. It includes all points of view. Vast like infinite space, no dimension or time anywhere, timelessly free, timelessly spacious, inclusive of absolutely everything that has ever occurred timelessly. So that means everything that has ever occurred, past, present, or future, is included within the expanse of awakened awareness, of all-inclusive awakened awareness. And we cannot taste that unless we relax. If we try to get involved in some kind of doing to make what already is happen, then we'll just be detoured away into more dynamic energy. We'll be cooking up more dynamic energy to try to see what's at the ground of all the dynamic energy. So this is why we can see really conclusively that intensive practices and methods, spiritual practices and methods that allege that they will lead to enlightenment don't. They may lead to enlightenment once in a while for a few people, but then very often what happens is we blame ourselves. We say, well, there's something wrong with me. I can't get enlightened. Somebody else can get enlightened, but I can't get enlightened, so there must be something wrong with me. I'm not doing these methods and practices right. So I'll either give up completely or I'll do them with a vengeance. I'll pour everything I have into this method or practice to try to fix myself and get awake. But if we apply elementary discernment by just relaxing to the entire situation, what we can see is that the methods and practices don't work. We work just fine. We work just fine. All we are is awareness. The awareness is conclusively and definitively the underlying basis, ground, and essence of being of every single perception we have, no matter what it is. So we work just fine. And when we look at what's going on with just elementary discernment, we can see a couple of things. One, the matter of enlightenment is either overcomplicated or it's oversimplified. When it's overcomplicated, it is so laden with methods, practices, and all kinds of doing that needs to be done that there's just generation of more and more points of view, more and more dynamic energy that we're all wrapped up in. And even if we do attain some kind of non-conceptual state through those practices, a non-conceptual state is just an anomaly of point of view. It's just another point of view. A non-conceptual state without any points of view, that's another point of view. What is aware of a non-conceptual state? That's what we're talking about right here. What is aware is the constant in every perception, whether it's a perception of a non-conceptual state like nothingness, no self, no thought, the void, or even bliss or clarity, impartiality, neutrality. All these are simply extremes of point of view, but they are not, nor have they ever been, awakening. They may offer relief from mental concepts, but they're still within the purview of mental concepts or point of view. They're an anomaly. They're not the conventional point of view, but they are still a point of view. An oversimplification of enlightenment is, all there is consciousness. Everything is a spontaneous functioning of consciousness. So just do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. All your behavior is predestined. It's just all these blips on the screen. If you are totally out of control, that it doesn't matter. You can still be enlightened, because habit patterns are just spontaneous functionings of consciousness. So this is an oversimplification, a gross oversimplification of enlightenment that is very prevalent today. But this oversimplification of enlightenment, again, it's some kind of a freedom from points of view or mental concepts, but it's not really enlightenment. The only way we can ever realize complete and total enlightenment for ourselves is to keep the focus entirely on ourselves, and in each moment of now, in other words, in each point of view, in each perception, realize the essence of that perception as our own vivid wakefulness. If we sit just for a moment and we watch a perception arise, what watches that perception arise is awareness. And the awareness is inseparable from the perception, like the color blue is inseparable from the sky. Nothing need be done about the dynamic energy of awareness. It's free in its own place. It's its own undoing. It vanishes naturally without a trace. When we maintain the vivid wakefulness that is the heart essence of every single point of view, then we know ourselves as we are. It's that simple. We know ourselves as we are. And there's no other way to realize who we are. We cannot force ourselves into a state that is some kind of a destination of total freedom, because who we are is completely beyond any kind of intellectual speculation. It's beyond any kind of destination or arrival at a state. Awareness, all-inclusive, pristine, awakened, immaculate, vast awareness, it doesn't have anything going on. It doesn't have anything to say about whether it is or it isn't, or this or that or anything else. It doesn't exclude anything. Everything is included within its purview. So when we rest naturally for short moments, repeated many times as the essence of each perception, then more and more we realize the freedom that is our natural state. Our natural state is complete ease, complete ease. And I'm not really talking about something where we just get to be a better person, or we get to be more relaxed, or we have a better psychology or anything like that. The more we relax, the more everything about us shifts. In other words, our thinking, our speaking, and our action that have all been caught up in the idea of a personal identity or a personal self, when we relax more and more and realize ourselves to be this vastness of all-inclusive awakened awareness, we realize that there's something about our body, speech, and mind that is absolutely inherent to that awareness, but that we never knew when we were all wrapped up in points of view. And that is that the emanation of that totally pristine and pure awareness is one of beneficial intent. In other words, as we just relax, we find more and more that our thoughts, our actions, and our speech are about what will benefit the whole rather than what will benefit us. So it's very simple. We don't need anyone to tell us whether we're relaxed or not, or confirm it. We know. We don't need anyone to tell us what the nature of our thinking is, or our speaking, or our actions. We all know that. We don't need that confirmed by anyone else. No one can give us freedom, and no one can take it away either. And no one needs to confirm it for us. We know. We absolutely know. We know in each perception whether there's only the vivid wakefulness of the natural presence of that perception as awareness. We know that. We clearly know that. We know if we're all wrapped up in elaborating points of view or not. So when we rest naturally, we realize the essence of our being. We rest naturally without seeking anything, without describing anything, without needing to make up a big story about everything going on. We just let everything be as it is. Just everything as it is. And the more we enjoy this ease of natural rest, the more we realize that we've always been totally free. We've always been totally free. We're not trying to get somewhere. And that there is absolutely no freedom. There is absolutely no freedom outside this freedom in immediate perception. Today we hear so many stories about people who have awakened, they've been enlightened, and maybe they've been enlightened for years, and all of a sudden they're not enlightened anymore. They have something that popped up, and it has all their attention now. Well, the reality of that is that the only freedom is this freedom in immediate perception. If we attempt to enter a state like emptiness or nothingness or whatever it is, maybe we can maintain that state for a certain period of time, but it's very likely there will be some kind of perception that comes up at some time that can't be dealt with, because you see, we're never free of perception. We're never free of points of view. They're entirely unpredictable. The dynamic energy of awareness is the dynamic energy of awareness. It doesn't really even have anything to do with us as a personal identity. In no way does it. The personal identity, too, is the dynamic energy of awareness. So when we rest naturally, we know everything about what is. This discernment that may have been almost non-existent, it expands more and more. It always is, so it never really expands, but our direct experience of it is one of increasing marvel and wonder in each moment. So in freedom and immediate perception, there's no destination. There's no destination. There's just the vivid awakefulness as whatever is.